Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we're going to be discussing the Buffalo Sabres and Jack Eichel being confirmed to be upset with the Buffalo Sabres and potentially wanting a trade as soon as this offseason. Now the Buffalo Sabres season is over, and with that we got a bunch of media calls from a bunch of different players, but the most interesting one was obviously Jack Eichel and what he had to say, and he had some really alarming comments about not just his situation with the Buffalo Sabres, but how a potential move might be made this offseason and how clear it might be too. So when it comes to the Jack Eichel situation, how likely is it that he'll be traded this offseason? What's going on with him and the Buffalo Sabres, and which teams are most likely to trade for him as well in the offseason too? Watch till the end for the entire trade rumors and the entire discussion, and hit that subscribe button if you're new. 60% of the people watching the videos are not subscribed, so every bit helps, and hit that subscribe button for more almost daily trade rumor and hockey content just like this. Now, to start off that Jack Eichel press conference, one of the big things he said in his own words was that he was upset by the way things have been handled by the Buffalo Sabres with his injury, and also went on to say there was a bit of a disconnect between him and the Buffalo Sabres. But there was one clip as well afterwards that was pretty alarming to me, that is really also damaging to the Buffalo Sabres and how much they're controlling Jack Eichel and trying to control his injury. And I'll show you guys the clip because this is pretty serious.
It is, if you want surgery or if you don't want surgery, whatever your thought is on that, why don't you just do what you would like to do? It's your body. It's your decision with a doctor.
Doesn't work like that, Paul.
Is it because of a contract?
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. I wish. I mean, yeah, you can't. I guess that's you hit the nail on the head there. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm under contract with this team, and they definitely hold a lot of cards on what I can and can't do.
Now, what Jack Eichel is talking about in that clip and about that surgery is that herniated disc injury that sent him out for the rest of this year and a decent chunk of this season, and it seems like he wanted to get surgery on it, but the Buffalo Sabres did not want to do that. They just wanted him to heal and try to be back for the start of next season, which obviously, if you're a team, that would be what you'd want if you can make him as healthy as possible without having him lose games next year. But it seems like Jack Eichel wants something different and wants something a lot different than what the Buffalo Sabres envision. And this is an interesting plot to me because I don't think it just relates to the injury. I think it also relates a lot to potential trade rumors, because when you look at Jack Eichel and the contract he has, he's stuck on the Buffalo Sabres for a very long time. Buffalo does not need to trade him whatsoever. But this injury could be the leverage that Jack Eichel needs to actually get into trade rumors more and potentially leverage himself into a big-time trade. I don't think the Buffalo Sabres plan on trading Jack Eichel if they had the choice this offseason, but if Jack Eichel says to Buffalo, hey, I have this injury, I want surgery on it, and if you're not going to give it to me, I am going to sit out this season. I'm not going to even play this season. And it would basically be like a William Nylander RFA situation we saw 2 years ago. Obviously, that's a pretty big galaxy brain, but I could see Jack Eichel pulling that off and getting the big-time trade out of Buffalo that would really ensure that a trade actually ends up happening. And really, I think that makes the most sense for Jack Eichel, especially if you're healthy and okay, ready to go. You can't just sit out games for no reason and try to make a trade happen, unless obviously it was contract issues, which obviously Jack Eichel does not have right now. He's locked up to the Buffalo Sabres long-term, whether he likes it or not, and obviously he does not exactly love it right now. But that surgery, that kind of threshold, is the leverage that Jack Eichel truly needs, I think, to really get a deal happen. I think it's still a likely option that Jack Eichel could be traded this offseason without this situation, but it makes it a lot harder for Buffalo to truly find incentive. Again, this is an amazing player. This is a potential top 10 center in the league in Jack Eichel, and for Buffalo, who doesn't have very much to look forward to, Jack Eichel is pretty much that franchise through and through. So in a lot of ways, unless they get a mega offer, they're not really going to have the leverage that they would have had otherwise if Jack Eichel pressures them to make a trade happen. And let's be honest, for Buffalo, if Jack Eichel doesn't play next season, there's literally, they didn't have much of a chance either way, but there was a 0% chance that they were going to do anything next year. And if Jack Eichel threatens to sit out, I think Buffalo takes action one way or another. We'll see how it ends up working out, but I think that's a great stranglehold by Jack Eichel to get a trade to the New York Rangers, the Montreal Canadiens, the LA Kings, or all these potential teams that could have a Jack Eichel trade offer on the boards. Now, I think truly this situation is the worst thing the Buffalo Sabres could have had to deal with, because Jack Eichel was truly that one bigger leverage piece they could have had to maybe turn the franchise around if they got a great package back. But with Jack Eichel having the potential of sitting out the season, threatening because of that injury, if he sits out for a long time and just doesn't want to play for the Buffalo Sabres because of it, the Buffalo Sabres have so much less leverage. I mean, it's kind of like Taylor Hall, where you could have had a great haul if he continued to play well and it just didn't happen, but he ends up going to Boston for practically nothing, and you're left with pretty much nothing on your team we would have had otherwise. When it comes to Jack Eichel, the Buffalo Sabres could not afford to lose that type of deal. But if Jack Eichel goes away, if he goes away from the team and threatens to leave and threatens to not even play the season, then the Buffalo Sabres almost have no choice at that point to maybe make a trade or just change ownership at that point. I mean, if we're talking about Jack Eichel here, one of the best players the Buffalo Sabres have ever had, this is a must-win situation for them, and if he sits out, there's pretty much no way they could actually win that situation. They're not winning too much right now, and they're certainly not winning the Jack Eichel negotiations and trade situation at the moment. Now, if I'm looking at the potential teams that Jack Eichel could go to, if I'm a betting man, I still think the LA Kings are the most likely bet, especially for a team like Buffalo to get him outside the conference and into a team like LA, which they'll not really face too much in the coming seasons. I think that's the best case scenario in that situation for the Buffalo Sabres, but the New York Rangers, I still think would be in a scenario like that and would be heavily involved. Same thing with a team like the Montreal Canadiens, we've seen don't really have that star that they truly need right now, and Jack Eichel could 100% be that player, and I think they would totally be on it too. But for the Buffalo Sabres, again, I don't think you're getting as much as you'd want, whether it be in Taylor Hall or the Jack Eichel situations. Teams know that Jack Eichel has a lot more leverage right now, and if you're a Rangers, Kings, Canadiens fan, I think this is the best news that you could have possibly had, because it's not just Jack Eichel potentially wanting to trade out. We do know that there's a lot of incentive for that with Jack Eichel, but the trade itself could be a lot less than a lot of people are expecting. If you're the New York Rangers and there is like the trade offers in the past of Kakko, Kravtsov, a first-round pick, and Lundqvist, if I'm looking at it as the New York Rangers, there's no way in heck I'm giving even close to that offer right now, especially with Jack Eichel potentially leveraging himself out. If I'm the Rangers, I mean, I would give up maybe Lundqvist, a first-round pick, and maybe a decent little prospect on top of that. But if I'm them, I could get a deal like that done, and the Buffalo Sabres at that point might not even say no. And this is what makes it so exciting for this offseason, because I think there'll be an absolute bidding war to see who will get this trade done, because I think at the starting point, especially again if Jack Eichel publicly makes it known that he wants a trade and that he's going to leverage it out, which could potentially happen, I think this could be a completely new situation for the Jack Eichel sweepstakes. This couldn't just be a situation where maybe there's a few teams in there that have a ton of prospects and they're able to give that up and get Jack Eichel. No, I could see a ton of teams, even contending teams, be in this situation, be in this scenario, and have enough to get it done. Again, for the Buffalo Sabres, Jack Eichel's trade value is at an all-time low, yes, and their leverage is an all-time low as well. To me, it just doesn't combine for a great situation, and I think the Buffalo Sabres eventually, whether it's now in the offseason or even at the start of next season, will eventually take the final L in the Jack Eichel situation. And honestly, with that whole trade, I don't see the Gulas lasting too much longer as the owners for the Buffalo Sabres. They've absolutely drove it into the ground, and if Jack Eichel leaves for a bad return, I think that's pretty much signifying the end for the Buffalo Sabres. I completely feel terrible for Sabres fans, because I think this is exactly what it's leading up to be, just an absolute disappointment on top of disappointment on top of disappointment. But if I'm real, I see Jack Eichel getting traded this offseason, him leveraging a trade and potentially going to a team like like LA, the New York Rangers, or the Montreal Canadiens. Get your seatbelts on, everyone, because this is gonna be a pretty wild ride. Now again, my first bet is still going to be the LA Kings as a team that gets it done, but I would not be surprised if the New York Rangers, especially with new management and James Dolan coming in as well with his aggressive mindset, end up trying to get a deal done, and I think that could definitely be the case as well. But let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this whole Jack Eichel situation? Where do you see Jack Eichel being traded this offseason, and how likely do you see a Jack Eichel trade actually happening? What do you think about the drama with Buffalo, the surgery situation, the leverage there, and what we will potentially see? Let me know all your thoughts. Make sure you share this video with your friends and get it everywhere you possibly can. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Make sure you click on this card for all my hockey prospects content right in one playlist, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Have a great day, everyone, and goodbye.